Okay, we're live. All right, so let's learn about AJAX. We're gonna really quick write a quick sample plugin that's gonna just kind of show how to do this. AJAX. I have a little plugin here. I've activated it. You can see right here. We're going to register a shortcode, put a button, output a button in the shortcode, and then do something with that in AJAX. So first, let's just write a quick shortcode. We have a button. It doesn't do anything, but we have a button. Okay. Now let's enqueue some JavaScript.
Misspelled enqueue there.
Let's forget the order of the parameters. Handle source dependencies. That's right. That's not the function name. What is the function name? Oh, that is right. Okay. Does everybody know what this is right here?
No, I was just about to ask that.
Okay. File mtime, it stands for file modified time. Looks to see when a file was modified. Because of the fact that WordPress kind of helps us cache things through query args, when this JavaScript file is loading, gets loaded, it's going to say ajax.js version equals some version. And file mtime simply sets it to the timestamp when the file is last versioned or last modified. So every time that I make changes and save it, it's going to get a new version number. So it's just kind of a quick way of always bumping up the version number of the file.
Right. Got it.
Okay. Let's see if I got my file loaded. ajax.js. Negative. I don't think I did this one right. Plugin dir URL. Ah. There it is. Okay. A little better. All right, so we have now unqueued a script, which is where our JavaScript's going to live. We have a button in our shortcode. Does everybody follow what we've done so far?
Yep.
Yep.
No questions. Okay. So now with AJAX, basically it's a multi-step process. First thing, you got to have something to trigger the AJAX. In this case, our trigger is going to be clicking on the button. So we're going to click it, and it's going to trigger an AJAX request, and then it's going to do something. So you have a trigger, which then fires an AJAX request. That AJAX request is basically saying, okay, here's data, send it to the server, and do something with it. The server, which in this case will be handled by our PHP, then intercepts that request, does something to it, potentially, and then sends back a response. The response is then picked up in the JavaScript, which is then used to do something on the page. So we'll go through each of that, all of those things in a moment. So first, let's just write some really quick JavaScript. to go ahead and detect when our button is clicked. JavaScript works. Okay. Okay. So let's modify this. So we want to just say when this thing is clicked, do something. So this is the ID of our button. We can just say jQuery on click function. So whenever AJAX test is clicked, we're going to run this function, which just simply says execute the code inside of here. So now we can say clicked. There we go. Following so far?
Yep.
Okay. At any point I do something that someone doesn't know what the heck is happening, tell me. Stop me. Doesn't help if somebody gets lost and then doesn't learn what's going on here. Okay, so at this point now, we want to fire our AJAX request. There's a couple of ways to do this. Probably the easiest way is through the jQuery function called AJAX. We go here. We can read about it. Now, sometimes this page is a whole lot of gibberish and kind of hard to understand. Let's just take, let's see if there's a quick example down here. And
I know WordPress has built-in AJAX handlers.
It does, and we're going to use it.
Okay.
WordPress also actually has a JavaScript function for sending AJAX requests as well, but it's a little bit trickier to use, and by default it's not available on the front end. So we're going to use straight up jQuery. All right, so let's fire an AJAX request. So first of all, this is the basics. We have a function in jQuery called AJAX. Now there are a couple other versions of this. There's post, there's get, there's a variety, but we're going to use AJAX. Let's go back real quick and let's actually look at an existing AJAX request that happens inside of EDD. So let's look at the AJAX request that's used for removing an item from the cart. Here it is. Now, let's simplify this a little bit so it's a little easier to process. Let's hide that.
Wait, can you unhide? What did you just hide?
Code that doesn't matter, basically.
Okay.
All right, so here we're just saying when the EDD remove from cart button is clicked on, and you can ignore some of the other stuff up here. Just know that when a button with this class is clicked, we're going to do this stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so when that is clicked, ignore this for a moment and only look at this. So this says we're going to send an AJAX request to the server. The type of request we're going to send is a post. And this is where you get into the difference of post request, get request, head request, etc. Don't worry too much about knowing what they are. Most of the time, you're going to use a post request. So we're going to send an AJAX request with a type of post, and then data right here, which is what we actually set up here. It's a variable saying this is what we're going to send to the server. And I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. It'll be a bit easier to understand. Data type, it's basically saying this is the kind of data that I expect to get back. It's just so that jQuery goes ahead and sets up the formatting the response properly. URL, this is where we're going to send our request to. And then you can ignore this. This has to do with cross-domain stuff and credentials and nastiness. But anyway, so let's go back and let's actually write this because it's going to be far, far easier to understand when we go there. So first of all, we're going to set up our options. The options that are passed to this is an object. In JavaScript, an object is denoted by curly brackets, like this. So if we see here, if we look at this example, it says AJAX, URL, and then settings. So let's do this. URL. We're going to figure out a URL to send this to in a moment. For now, I'm going to show you an example. Let's say http://google.com. Type. We're going to do a GET request. I'm going to show you why in a moment. And that is all we're going to send for now. Okay. And I'll explain this in a moment.
Give us a space after success. Is that proper?
That's okay.
All right.
Okay. So all this is saying is that when I click this button, I'm going to send a GET request to google.com. When that GET request is successful, I'm going to take the data in response, which is basically anything I get from this URL, and I'm going to log it to the console. So let's see what happens. By the way, if you're not familiar with it, too many windows open. If you're not familiar with it, in the console, console.log is this in the inspector and is your best friend when doing AJAX. All right, click. Oh, I got to reload. Okay. I got an error back. Oh, this mixed content warning is because I tried to send a request to HTTP when I have my site loaded on HTTPS. So let's do this. I don't know if it'll work. We'll see if Google will even let me do this. Let's do a different page. That shouldn't freak out. Let's do my own page. This is probably going to actually it might be too big of a page to do this on.
Or you could have spelled your name wrong.
I did spell it wrong, didn't I?
Epic.
Well, that pin guy, he's everywhere.
Okay, so it's still gonna. It doesn't like my SSL request. So here, let me send a request to my own site or to literally the local host that I'm on, because that way it doesn't freak out. SSL and JavaScript and AJAX are bitches. There we go. Okay, so now if we look here, we see a whole shit ton of HTML. This is literally the HTML of this homepage right here.
Wow.
Because all I said is fire requests to this URL and tell me what you got. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody confused? Silence. Awesome. All right. Let's continue. Let's do this. Let's actually send a request to the server and get something meaningful. Now we're going to use the WordPress AJAX API because this is what we really need to do. So the WordPress AJAX API is this. So it'd be admin/admin ajax.php. 0. It says absolutely nothing. That's good. That's what we want. So just to start, let's send a request to that and see what we get.
Should be 0, right?
Should be 0, which it is. And that's good. Okay. Now, in order to truly understand how all this works, we need to understand how the admin AJAX API works. So, guess where we're going? We're going to core. And we're going to go look. That's not what that'll work. We're going to go look at admin AJAX. Okay. So this is the file that we're sending to. Now, we're going to just kind of run down this and look to see how it works. So at the very top, you guys may or may not be familiar with a constant called doing AJAX. You've probably seen it somewhere before where we look to see was WP doing AJAX? Well, this is why. Because during the admin AJAX request, we set doing AJAX to true. Okay, now here, this is a super important part. if empty, request action, die of 0. Why is that important? Because this is one of the fundamental aspects of using this API. So let's try this. Let's just add an action parameter. Action equals test. So now, this will not be empty. Let's find out what we get. Oops, got to refresh. I still get 0. Okay, that's fine. But we added an action because we want to get past this. So now we're here, line 32. We keep going down, we keep going down. We can just kind of ignore what's happening here. And now we get to...
Wait, I'm sorry. Let's time out for a second. What you added that parameter to get past?
Yes.
How did that work? I don't.
Okay. Are you familiar with the superglobals get and post?
I've seen them around. I could stand to hear more.
So when we look, let's take a page like this. This var is inside of get, and we can prove that. Var equals 1. Var equals test. So this superglobal, the get superglobal, allows us to access stuff in the URL, parameters in the URL.
Okay.
Okay. Post allows us to access data that was posted to the server, which is a little bit more difficult to explain in this context, but it's very similar. Request is actually set up by WordPress, and it is a combination of get and post. So basically, they took this array and merged them together. And so that's how we have request action.
Okay.
So we have request
So
action because I added it here.
It wasn't empty, so that conditional didn't apply.
So if I do action equals 0, let's modify core real quick.
Never.
Sure, why not?
Oh, hang on. Gotta get rid of this. So I now get test 0 because request action is empty. It's empty because I set it to a value of 0.
Yeah.
Now if I set it to 1, and do it again, I get just 0. I get just 0 because there's a second case where we die of 0 in a moment. Okay. Are we good?
Yep.
All right. So if we have a request, we continue. This is just a short circuit that says if there's no request being made, there's no action being defined, get out of here because we don't have anything to do. So all of this logic, you can pretty much ignore all of this. The reason you can ignore all of it is because it's related to WordPress core. This is how WordPress core handles its actions, its AJAX processing. The only thing you need to look at is this. So if the user is logged in, we trigger an action via do action called WP AJAX _action. And then if they're not logged in, we do WP AJAX no priv action. So basically, somebody who has privileges, fire this action. Somebody who does not have privileges, fire this alternate action. All this is simply allowing you to easily hook in during this AJAX request. All right, let's show a demo. So I'm going to set my action to demo AJAX. Now, over here, I'm going to write a new function. AJAX response. Add action. WP _AJAX. It's WP _AJAX because that's what WordPress core set it to here. And then it's the value of the action parameter. So the action parameter is defined here. So the value is demo AJAX. So WP AJAX, demo AJAX, AJAX response. Just die with a 1. And now let's find out what we get. We get a 1. So far, so good.
Yep.
Anybody confused?
Nope.
Okay. So now we need to go a bit further. So now let's actually do something with this request. Let's say let's actually send another value. Okay, so we set an action. Let's send another parameter. And let's just say value equals 1. Now let's say if it value is greater than 1 by 2, else by 1. All right, so we're going to send this value of 1 here. And if it is greater than 1, we're going to echo 2. If it's less than 1, we're going to echo 1. And we get 1. Now, let's change this to 3. Do it again, and we get 2. So very basic illustration of interacting with the data sent from JavaScript. Now, we got to go a little further than this, because this is kind of cheating, because here we're hard coding all of this directly into the URL. So let's do a step better. First of all, let's use WP localized script. Who here does not know how to use WP localized script?
I could use a refresher. I have used it.
Okay. This is one of the best things inside of WordPress that is used for something completely different than what it was intended for, but that's okay. Okay, all we're doing here is we have our JavaScript here. We're going to set up some variables that can be accessible from this JavaScript so that we can access them easily. So over here, we have this AJAX URL hard-coded. But in a real WordPress site, because of the way that plugins and stuff do, we may not actually know what the admin AJAX URL is. Maybe somebody has a plugin that hides the admin endpoint, or they move the URL, or they've done something funky. So this is simply a helper that's going to output this for us. So we can now access this like this, AJAX URL. So AJAX vars is going to be a variable, an object that is available to our script, and AJAX URL is this right here that I've defined. So let's see if we still work. 2, well, kind of. We get 0 now, and we get 0 because we're not passing in an action or any values now. So look at our page source. This is what that thing looks like that we just localized. WP localized script. It looks like this. So we can pass anything we want here. WP localized script was originally intended to allow us to put in localized text into our JavaScript from the PHP, so that way it can be translated. You may remember seeing this throughout in EDD every now and then. We go over here to our scripts file. We have a whole bunch of them right here. WP localized script. Basically, we're localizing, we're setting up text strings that are used throughout EDD, basically on the checkout, so that they can be translated, because we can't translate JavaScript the same way we translate PHP. Okay. So we have our AJAX URL. Now let's do this. Let's do a little bit more here. Let's go to our shortcode, and let's take this into a form. We now have an input field and a button. Doesn't do anything, and if you click it, it relives the page. That's okay, because we're going to fix that in a moment. So now our ID is Ajax form. We're going to go over here, and we're going to change this to Ajax form. And instead of on click, we're going to use on submit. So this just says whenever this form is submitted, do this. And we can improve that. Test. Now relives page. It also works if you hit enter. Okay, so now basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the value of this input field and we're going to send it to the server. So we hit something, we click send, we're going to send that to the server, and then we're going to log that whatever we sent into the console. Or we'll do something similar to that. All right, so let's do, so we have Ajax form. Now we're going to set up data. So data simply says, this is the data that I want to send to this URL. At the moment, we're not sending anything. So I'm going to send an action. And basically, when we send this data, this is a key value pair. So key value. So action is this action right here. So our action needs to be demo Ajax. That.
No, wait. My brain tells me this action should be whatever core said action had to be in order to get by their tests in the first place.
You are kind of correct. Okay, so basically what we're setting up here is we're setting the key in the request array,
Okay.
the value of that key. So in here, it says if request action is empty, die. So action here
It just needs to be not empty.
is this.
I think I'm on the same page, but just let me clarify.
Okay.
In the context of the request that you're building right there, since type is get, then anything that is in data is basically being passed as get query parameters.
Yes. Here, let me write this out and actually here. That's actually an excellent question because this is one of the things that took me so freaking long to figure out, and I felt really sad once I figured out because it's actually super simple, but it seems like this is what trips everybody up. So let's just say name John. So what that's doing, so when this gets to the server, it's going to look like this. Get will be an array where action goes to demo Ajax, name John.
So I was right. Okay.
That's what it will look like. And so in WordPress here, that's what this request is going to look like because request is a combination of post and get. Anyone confused? Okay. Oh, data is simply setting up what we want to be available in the get parameter. If we were to do post, it would be in the post parameter. For this demo, it doesn't really matter which we use, but we're gonna do get for now. Action is demo Ajax, name is John, and let's start with that. So let's go over here, and let's just take name equals get name, and we're going to reverse the string. Is there a reverse string function in PHP? Where there is. String rev, that's what it is. We're going to reverse a string just as kind of proof that we're taking data from the request and sending it back and doing something. Oh, hang on, forgot something. Okay, when we submit this, by default, it wants to reload the page. We're going to prevent it from reloading the page by saying E, prevent default, which just says, on this event, which is E, prevent the default behavior. Refresh. Now we can click it over and over again, and it never does anything. Okay, now let's click it and watch down here. Here, click me, and we get NHOJ. We reverse the string.
But there wasn't anything in the form when you just submitted. Oh, because
I know.
it's hard-coded.
That's because I hard-coded it.
Gotcha.
I hard-coded it. So, okay, that makes sense?
Yep.
Anyone confused?
Nope.
Awesome. Okay, did anybody know why we do die here?
Nope.
Because we want it to die.
Well, I do want Ajax to die most of the time.
That is, I mean, yeah, those are all true answers, but it really comes down to this. So if we look at admin.ajax.php, we see do action, the request, and do action, the request. And then down at the bottom, we have a die with a 0. Let's take this out. Now we get John with a 0.
Yeah.
So WordPress core basically is protecting itself and saying, let's make sure that everything stops. Nothing continues to run after this. We have to do the same to say, when our processing is done, let's die, so that WordPress doesn't output a 0 and confuse our whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's take the input that we get from the form. So to do that, there's a couple ways that we can do this. First of all, we can take this. This here will refer to the form object. So this entire form in HTML will be accessible in this. So I could say this find input where type equals text value, and that will be the value of it. There's other ways we can do it, but this one works. This will work for this example. So first of all, click me. We get nothing. Test. Click me. We get test. Well, we get. That's really all we get. Hello. Hola.
Put in Topher.
Okay.
Then you'll get my super secret password that I use everywhere.
Woohoo. Repot. Awesome. Okay. That makes sense so far? So far, so good? Okay. Now, let's do this. Open up Safari. Where's the console? Oh, there's. Oh, I get 0. What the fuck? Why do I get 0?
Because Safari is
Answer
dumb.
that. No, not Safari. Why do I get 0?
Why do you get 0? I have no idea. Does Safari handle Ajax differently?
Because he's not logged in on Safari,
Yeah.
Bingo.
not using the no
Right, so we have two WP AJAX actions, WP AJAX and WP AJAX no priv. So if we want to do something logged in, we simply have to duplicate it. If we want this to work logged in and logged out, we have to have both actions. Now, if I go to Safari, now I get back.
Show me the code again. Both action. Oh, yeah.
Exactly the same. The only difference is prefixing with no priv, which just means no privileges.
We've got
Why is
that
there
on
not
the-
yet a single action you can do for both?
Because when it comes to AJAX, there's a ton of things that only apply to logged in users versus logged out.
Right, but you right now want to do both.
Mhm.
So why? There should be a third option here, I think.
It's just the way the core did it.
Yep.
I mean, we could argue plus or minuses all day, but that's the way they've done it. So, okay.
That's what we use for the. We've got those two for the add to cart buttons with the WP AJAX and the WP AJAX no priv actions.
I believe. So if we go over here, if we go to AJAX functions, yep.
Yeah, I saw those.
You should see these on pretty much everything.
Yep.
Regular, no priv, regular, no priv, regular, no priv, only no priv.
Registration. Yep.
All right. Any questions at all so far?
No, I'm probably going to take off in 10 minutes, though.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Now, any examples of something somebody wants to do that they don't yet know how to do based on this demo?
Based on this demo? No.
Okay. Dan, you had something that you needed to do in AJAX.
You've clarified a lot of it, but now comes the next question of once I've received that data, how do I convert that into doing something physically on the front end? Like in the context of what I'm doing, I have to basically calculate out and then add a discount. So how would I?
Okay, so we get a response here. Now, what the fuck do we do with it, basically? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, this is going to really depend on the context of whatever you're doing. But let's just do some really simple examples. So let's take the value that we've entered into this input field, send it to the server, reverse it, and add it below the form. To do that, we can simply say, well, first of all, let's set up a variable, var form equals this. The reason I'm doing this is because this, if I do that here, it won't work because it's in a different context. But I can do, since I set up the parameter, the variable before, I could say form.append. Like that. So let's take Sean and add him to the form. Nice. Okay. Does that kind of help, Dan? I know it's a very simple example.
A little bit.
Okay. Let's go a step further. Let's go here. Let me actually show you something kind of in the context of EDD that might help you. So check this out. I'm going to add my button to the checkout screen. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make this refresh checkout. That's what it's going to do. For some silly, bizarre reason, but that's what it's going to do. So we're going to add something to the cart. We're going to go to checkout. Okay, so here's our checkout. Now, let's go look at EDD. And let's go to JavaScript. And we're going to go to EDD checkout global. And we actually have a function here called EDD checkout. And one thing that we can do that's kind of cool is run this function called recalculate taxes. Recalculate taxes is a stupidly named function now because what recalculate it was originally designed for if you need to, like if you've changed your state or your country and you need to figure out what the taxes should be for that. But it's actually a super handy function if you just want to refresh the entire checkout cart if you've done anything behind the scenes because it does that. So that's what we're going to use. So we're going to say EDD checkout. Oops. Okay. Now, if I click this, you're not actually going to see anything happen. But we're going to do something. So now I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to add a new item to the cart. And now we're going to refresh the checkout, and that new item is going to show up. Hopefully. Hang on. Make sure I don't embellish. Wah, wah, wah. What did I do wrong?
Yesterday, my
checkout.
daughter taught me that a group of pandas is an embarrassment of pandas.
Oh, I know why. Because I don't have taxes enabled. Let me go enable taxes real quick. This function doesn't do anything if you don't have taxes enabled. But Dan, for your case, you can take this code and you can just copy and paste it out of there. But all right, saves time. I'm going to use this function. All right, and
Wow, Alabama has sucky taxes.
yeah, no shit.
Is that real?
Don't move there.
Okay. Now let's try this again. Refresh. Oh wait, I gotta reload my page. Okay.
And there's your product.
Cheating. Okay, so now if I refresh checkout, you won't see anything happen. But if I go over here, add the bundle, click refresh checkout, boom, there it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does that help, Dan?
Yeah, a little.
Okay, so let me show you a couple examples now of what you can do with this. Let's say during your AJAX request, you want to add a fee. So let's modify this a little bit, and let's say that this form is adding an arbitrary fee to EDD. Why? I don't know, but we are. So we're going to say EDD fees, add fee, array, ID goes to sample, label goes to sample fee, amount goes to EDD sanitize amount, it's called name. Let's change this to amount. I think that's right. Okay. That is fee of $12. There it is. Let's change it to $11. There it is. Let's make it 5 ridiculous number. There it is. Let's make it.
Can you randomly add that to my commissions?
Nope. Make it not a number. See what happens. And it comes out as 0 because EDD is trying to be smart. So now, anything you wanted to do with the checkout here, you could. So you could set a discount. You could add a fee. You could add a negative fee. You could set anything you want, and it will refresh this checkout screen.
Hey, put a large number in there again, 1 million or so. Yeah.
You see a bug?
Chris does.
Subtotal plus tax.
He's right. The total's wrong.
Oh yeah.
Wait.
No, it's not. No, it's not because there's a PayPal standard fee here as well.
Yeah, and it's off by like by 10 million.
Right. Yeah.
Look at it. Your tax is 1 million. Your total is 11 million.
No, it's off by 10 billion.
Or billion? 3, 6, 9. Yeah, billion.
Just a minute here.
Yeah, see, I dominate this. I'm not
Well, okay, so the sample fee is not included in the subtotal. The subtotal is just the items.
No, I agree with that, but total.
So the
total.
just a minute. The tax
Oh.
is the item. The subtotal is the tax on the subtotal plus the tax on the fee. It's correct.
He's right. It's right.
He's just missing something from the bottom.
It just doesn't show it very well.
Oh, okay. Oh, it does that with taxes.
Here.
Wait, no, not taxes.
Let's make this a little simpler. Let's make this a little simpler to see.
There's somewhere else it does that pisses me off. I can't remember what it is though.
Let's just get rid of taxes on the fee. Is that better? Wait, that didn't work. Hang on. What is this damn parameter? Add fee, no tags.
You have to resubmit, don't you?
Is it the shipping?
There we
fee?
go.
Where
There we
does
go.
it?
Is that better? Why is my fee 0?
Why's your fee zero?
Submitted with nothing in the field.
There you go. Now you happy?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm still not happy. It's off by $2.80.
It is not.
It is. Look at it. It's off by $2.80. I'm sorry. It's off by $2.
$2, yeah.
Oh,
No,
it's
it's not.
standard fee. God
It's
damn
not
it.
standard. Read the damn checkout. It's got the $2 right there.
Sorry, screw you for using my extension.
Shouldn't it show somewhere down in the footer though? Because it does that with the we'll talk about this offline. I noticed it somewhere
This
else.
is a totally different subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, never.
Yeah. Anyway, so everybody clear on what's happening here?
Mhm.
Does this help anybody who was unsure of how to do AJAX before?
Helps me.
I still have a question or two, but they're beyond the scope of basic AJAX.
Okay.
So,
Does anyone have any other questions that you want to pop up? Otherwise, go back to work.
Nope, I'm good.
Good to go.
All right. Enjoy your afternoon.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye.